What's up, Internet, and welcome back to another set of Image comic reviews here on the Comics Pals. I'm your host this week, Pete, joined by Kale and Tyler.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Interesting.
I thought that was me saying hi. I was
Hi.
like,
Whose voice is that?
hello.
We're just trying to just confuse
Hello?
people now. Like, is that Tyler?
You audio listeners are all screwed up now.
These assholes should be
Wow.
pretty familiar with who the kinds of voices I do. It's been 500 episodes.
Anyway, we are here again on Wednesday, courtesy of Image Comics, who sends us their advanced reviews so that we can get our reviews out to you day and date. This week, we are covering the Me You Love in the Dark #1 by Scotty Young, Scotty Young on the story, Jorge Corona on art, Jean Francis Bellew. I really was confident I was going to get
Jean-Francois Bellieu.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Good
right.
grief.
I said Jean Francis.
You're not. Are you French?
I'm not.
Or French Canadian? All right, there you go.
Jean-Francois
Have
Bellew.
you ever been outside of America? You ever watched a French
I-
YouTube video?
I only know the pronunciation because I'm pretty sure iFanboy really when they say his name, it's really pronounced.
I love that was the second place you went. Have you watched a French YouTube video? No, I haven't watched a French YouTube video. What are you talking about?
Maybe you should think about it.
All right, maybe I should.
You don't watch any Jean-Luc Godard or anything like that? Nothing?
And then we've got Nate Piekos or Picos of
Picos.
Blambot.
I think it's just
Picos.
Picos, yeah.
Okay, on letters. So, and then we've also got Geiger. I forgot I was listing the books. Then we've also got Geiger #5, and that is, of course, by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. And then Brad Anderson on colors and Rob Lay on letters. So, but we're going to start things off with The Me You Love in the Dark. Because it's a new book. It's a fresh book. I am familiar with Scotty Young, but I don't think I've ever read anything that Scotty's written.
Okay.
I think I'm only familiar with the art. I'm most familiar with Scotty Young from that era of Marvel where he was doing every book's alternate covers and they were all sick as hell.
I think he still does that. I think he still does it for
That's
big
tight.
#1s and stuff.
Yeah, it's not as much.
Yeah, so I think this is the same team that did Middle West, which was Scotty Young's previous Image book. Yeah, I mean, I've read We Hate Fairyland. I think that was, or it was maybe Fuck Fairyland, and then
No,
I hate
I think it's
Fairyland.
I Hate Fairyland.
Yeah. I've read a good chunk of that. I didn't finish that, but I did love Scotty Young's Rocket Raccoon and Groot that he did for Marvel.
Yeah.
That's some fun stuff. I think that had a couple of artists. I think Philippe Andrade was on that as well with him. So
I could see that. Yeah.
that was fun stuff.
He's a strong writer.
Yeah. He's doing Strange Academy. That's Scotty Young.
Oh, cool.
That's right.
Fantastic book, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got a strong creative team on this one.
Yeah.
It is, I thought it was an interesting story. It's like the story of this painter who is having, some not writer's, but painter's block, I guess.
Yeah.
Block. And rents this supposedly haunted house kind of in the middle of nowhere. And, we see her kind of struggling, trying to work towards her next gallery exhibit and trying to keep her gallery open. And, she's kind of just not able to get anything that's working for her. And then she finds out that this house is actually haunted and is seemingly, beginning, I think it's probably safe to say, some kind of a friendship with a ghost, which I thought was interesting because, I mean, it can kind of go a lot of different directions here, but in general, that is a pretty fun elevator pitch. It's definitely unique.
Yeah, I think I've said this. Geez, I said this recently about something. I think my problem is that exactly what you described is all this book is.
Yeah.
I wanted a lot more. And that is to say, man, I get that you have to establish your character and that she's in a phase of being blocked or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be the only thing that happens in the issue.
Yeah, I think it checked off the first issue checklist. Who's the character? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Cliffhanger, you know. But there really wasn't much. I don't know what the story pull is. Is it, oh, she sees a ghost, is she getting introduced to a whole, you know, mystic side of this universe? Is it just she have a relationship with this ghost? I don't know. And for me, it was a little bit of a slow read. It was a quick, slow read. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it does make sense. I think that's what I liked about it. I liked the pace of it. Like, it felt, because I think you're right that, like, it does check a lot of boxes for a first issue, you know, but, like, I think the idea of this kind of establishing what the stakes are for her right now, you know, like, now that that's done, we don't have to do that again, you know, so, like, I don't anticipate that that's going to be, like, a pervasive issue within the book. And for me to be trying to, like, get acclimated to who is this character, why is she doing this, like, what are the, you know, what's her motivation, more or less. I don't know, I felt like it got into a rhythm that I appreciated, and when it was disrupted at the end, that worked for me. Like, I didn't get to that cliffhanger and have this kind of, like, oh shit, like, I have to see what happens from here moment.
A soft cliffhanger.
Yeah, but I think the fact that it is more of a soft cliffhanger, and that the details we have about this entity are kind of are few, it makes me, I have intrigue, because, like, you said yourself, right? It's not exactly clear where the trajectory of what's happening is going.
Feels like a cold open in a way.
Yeah.
The first 5 minutes of any horror story.
Yeah, sure. But should the first 5 minutes be the first issue of a comic book?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with both of you at this point.
There's a debate to be had there.
Yeah.
I think, the art is strong. I think the character work is strong. But I feel like you could condense a lot of this into 10 pages and then do more.
Yeah. The pacing is a little strange, yeah.
I think I hear that. I don't know. It's odd because, like, I think that there are devices that work really well in film that I think you see some writers try to adapt to comic scripts, and I just don't know that it always works. And I think the idea of, like, showing someone in a kind of monotonous loop is something that can work really well in film to convey like movement and time. And I feel like that's what this issue is doing. But I understand it not working for you on the page as well, because you don't have as many things to respond to, right? Like, because a comic script is all about the dialogue and the art, and there's almost no dialogue, and the art is limited to, you know, a small, it's like a bottle issue, right? Like, it all takes place in, like, 2 rooms. That gives you less to hold on to, you know? So, like, I can totally see, I can totally see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed the Jorge Corona art. Like, that I can say was probably my favorite part of it.
It's really good.
It's funny. It's got a. I know Scotty's the only one. He's the one scripting it, but the art kind of has a Scotty flavor to it, if that makes sense.
When I saw the when I was kind of just, like, thumbing through it at first, I was like, oh, is like Scotty on the art on this? And I was like, oh no, okay.
Yeah,
I definitely see that.
Yeah. I think there is a good sense of mood and tone that I think the pacing helps.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's what I'm responding to.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a vibe.
Yeah, and I can say that, but at the same time, there must have been 10 pages of just walking back and forth between rooms with a blank, canvas. So had its benefits, had its drawbacks, I think. So
So where are you? Are you interested in seeing where issue 2 is going?
Yeah, I typically give, if I'm going to read a number 1, I'm going to read a number 2. 2 is really the test for me with a lot of books. I think one single, like, first issues have mandated things they need to do, where 2 is where you can kind of actually see where the characters and the story's going. So yeah, I'll always give it an issue 2.
Yeah, same. I'm interested in the ghost and what's going on, and I'm interested in what they're using to express the ghost.
Yeah.
The introduction of the ghost is in a 3-panel row, an all black panel in the middle with just the ghost's text. And that was incredible. I thought that was genius.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. And I don't know, I'm very interested in seeing what angle this is trying to take, because I have a feeling that it's not going to be horror. Like, the ghost doesn't seem particularly sinister. Like, the all black panel and some of the imagery is a little bit creepy, but like, when you think about the actions that the ghost has taken so far, right? Like, the first time they interact is she's like, should I just like give up on my art? And the ghost says no, right? Like, that's not sinister. And the ghost does put out the glass of wine for her when she asks, and
it apologizes for freaking her out, and
yeah, that's the next interaction they have, is it apologizes and it cleans up the room that she trashed, you know,
almost like a friendly ghost,
right? And that is, yeah, it's not an unheard of trope, right? Obviously, but it's different. Like, that's, you know, when I think this elevator pitch, I'm assuming that this is going to be this artist gets tormented and whatever, right? But like, it seems like that might not be where we're going, and I don't know. I could maybe be down for like an unconventional friendship or romance story or something like that.
She gonna fuck that ghost.
I think so. The Me You Love in the Dark. It's like,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I mean, I think go ahead, Cal.
The innuendo from her manager or whatever.
That was a little weird for me. I felt. I was like,
I found that to be odd.
And while it was odd from that character specifically, you know, you have to assume something about their relationship or whatever. But as a device, I think that sort of sets a tone for sort of what to expect.
Sure.
In the book as well.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Yeah.
I think by issue 2, though, we need to know where the actual story is going.
Yes.
If I don't get anything about by issue 2, I might be out. So
I think I would agree with that. I think if issue 2 is like a direct follow-up, and it's very much like she's going to have a conversation with the ghost and we're going to start establishing what the momentum of this story is supposed to be, I could see myself getting in. But I definitely, you know, I would like to see it pick up the pace a little bit. All right. So we'll probably be back next month with number 2 of this one, it sounds like. We all were into it enough to want to give it the rope for number 2. So let us know what you think, and we'll see you back for next month. All right, so let's jump into a book we have been reviewing for a while, Geiger number 5. So I am a little out on this series. I missed the last 2 reviews, and I realized I didn't catch up on them because the funny thing, I haven't been super motivated to read this book. So I'll let you 2 lead the discussion, and you know,
I mean, a Gary Frank, Jeff Johns book actually coming out steadily.
Yeah,
pretty.
Well, there could be a reason we haven't seen that. Have you been reading?
I have been. Yeah.
Tyler?
Yep.
Yeah.
I will read Gary Frank. I will at least try Gary Frank anytime there's a new Gary Frank book out.
So how have you felt about it?
I've been enjoying it. I think a very similar kind of story, or at least setting, is being told in Scott Snyder's Undiscovered Country, which is this post-apocalyptic America.
Yeah, we've been comparing it to Noctera.
Another Snyder book. Yeah. So am I a little over post-apocalyptic out in a way? Maybe. I would say there are 2 things I'll get the 3 things I really enjoy about this book. I do enjoy Gary Frank a lot.
Sure. Of course.
Especially seeing him draw a giant radioactive dude. I'm in.
Sure.
I do like the idea of Las Vegas being divided up based on the resorts into some weird kingdom that I'm having fun with. I like all those kind of scenes in it. And I like the I guess relationship between Tariq, I believe the main character's name is.
Yeah, I think so.
Tariq and the children. I don't. I would say I am enjoying this book. I think, yeah. I'll say, yeah. I do enjoy the idea of seeing where the story goes. Is it an ongoing? Do we know the status of it? I never know these things.
I believe it is.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, unless there are multiple issues in a row where I'm like, oh, that was boring to me, I'll probably keep reading it. Yeah, especially with this issue, the wrinkle of the boy in the story having leukemia is depressing as fuck, but it is an interesting wrinkle to have in it because they are at this place that's like the safe haven, and it's not as safe as they thought it was. So the story has traction now on where it's going.
I didn't even we didn't even get that far into Noctera, but that's also a plot point in that book.
Yep. That's the modern day Image, I guess. That's 3 Image books. I do recommend Undiscovered Country though. That book's wacky.
Yeah. This book, I mean, other than the Gary Frank art, which is good, there's obviously no question about that. I think I would just rather see him draw something else.
I mean, I think that's Gary Frank is like the superhero artist for me. He's like up there.
Yeah, of course.
But I'd love to. Yeah. Are you a big Jeff Johns guy?
I sure used to be.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Controversy aside, but this book it does nothing for me.
I would say it's missing charm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's missing a little bit of personality.
I think that's the thing for me is I really, really liked the first issue. I remember I responded to that one pretty highly because I like a lot of the world building that's been done.
Yeah.
I think what you laid out about the the different factions and everything, and everyone has the different clothes and all that stuff. It's cool, but I almost feel like it has too much going on. I'm interested in all of it enough, but it feels like, I don't know, I feel like we get introductions to these ideas, but we don't necessarily spend as much time with them as maybe I want sometimes, or I don't know. I went from being very in on it to getting to the point where I didn't even think about the fact that I had fallen behind, which doesn't usually happen with a book that grabs me as much as I thought this one was going to.
Literally forgettable.
Yeah, and I don't think it's because it's bad or even because it doesn't have anything that's unique to it, but it's I don't know, it's the post-apocalypse plus superhero plus road trip story. It's pick one of those things and lean in maybe, I don't know.
You know what I would like? A map. A map in these kinds of books, I think is important to at least ground me of where it is.
And I think they had one kind of in the end of the first issue, but it's it would be nice to have one every time.
Yep.
I just I don't know.
I will give it another knock. Colors are a little, it's post-apocalyptic, but the colors are
a little flat.
But it's just all one tone. There's no real variety in what we get. To be fair, I think the past 3 issues have all been in a desert. So what do I expect?
Right.
But
this one's in a hospital. So
it's in a desert and then a hospital.
Oh, okay.
2 of the most notoriously colorful places that you could possibly be,
right?
In any kind of setting, yeah.
I will say, and I've said this before, I think the design of Geiger, of the main character, is very cool, and I love his dog sidekick.
Barney? Yeah,
Barney. The fact that his name is Barney is very funny to me.
I love a good animal sidekick.
Me too. I'm a sucker.
That's a good way to sucker me into something. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in a weird place with this book. Like, it has things going for it, and I don't dislike it, but I don't find myself extremely motivated to keep up with it.
Yeah, for me, it's like a solid 7, if that makes sense. Like enough where like I'm enjoying it to the point where like I'll probably keep reading it, but am I looking forward to it every week? I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
A 7 out of 10, or as like a scale of like 5 to 10?
I would say, well, I would do 1 to 5 at that point. So it's 7. I would give it a 7 out of 10.
You're the one. I'm just trying to make sense of it because 7 out of 10 is crazy to me.
Yeah, but I don't know. I agree with Tyler, but like I think you and I, at least I know, think about that scale differently. Because like when I say
my scale's fucked up.
Yeah,
7 out of 10 is middling, and then I say middling, I'm like, well, then shouldn't it be a 5?
But I'm totally like that too, because I think of it as like it's like letter grades. Like when I say 7 out of 10, I mean it's like a C. It's an average. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah.
It's passable. You know, like it's I could see why someone would really like it too.
Yeah.
But
no, I see the draw.
But for me, I haven't connected with it as much as I thought I was going to. If we weren't reviewing it, I wouldn't have given it a second thought, I don't think, at this point.
It seems like you're reviewing it and still haven't given it a second thought because you keep forgetting
Great
it.
point.
So,
That's true. Well, I missed the last couple.
Listeners, are you still reading this? Are you enjoying it? What's bringing you in?
Do you like
How
seeing
highly
a
do
dude
you-
shove rods in his back? That's what he does. It'd be nice if he had like a super villain or something, you know, something to.
Well, he's got the king, but like
He's not very imposing.
Looks like we're getting one though. We're getting some kind of robot.
Yeah, some kind of robot that he's going to fight next issue.
great.
Well, so speaking of like this actual issue, not to like harp too much on the broad broader story. Tyler, you said that you found like the reveal that the younger brother, it's Henry, right? Yeah,
Sure.
that he has leukemia. That you feel like you're connecting with that story, like him being kind of a caretaker for these kids, Tariq being a caretaker for these kids, and then finding out this wrinkle that they've gotten to this government facility that they've been trying to get to, and that he won't be allowed to stay anyway, right?
Yeah,
they'll euthanize him essentially.
Yeah, there's this loner out there in a post-apocalyptic world with this young child, bringing them to a hospital where they have something that can save the world. Yeah, this is Last of Us.
I was gonna say,
which maybe that's the kind of story that I instantly glob onto because it is a familiar trope, possibly. But I don't know. At least I want to see the robot. Show me the robot. I will.
Sure.
I will be in for the robot. If robot fights a 2-headed Barney dog, I'm a simple man.
I mean, but it's gonna be fucking Gary Frank, so of course that's gonna look good. Like
I
up your
know,
standards.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We only got one more before there's the break on this one, right?
Yeah. So we'll see if it if it makes the cut. Yeah.
We'll see if it lands the plane. Yeah,
I'm over it.
You've been over it for like almost the entire time, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
issue 1 or issue 2? Would you say? Did issue 1 even?
I would say issue 2.
You were
Officially.
lukewarm
No.
on 1, and then you're like, yeah.
I
this is-
remember 1 being. I enjoyed 1 a lot. I was like, ooh, there's something here, and then like it kind of just dragged on for me. So
Yeah.
No, you know what really shut it down for me was the it might have even been 3 when we just get the reveal that there's nobody in the fucking grave.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that was a quick reveal, and I understand the point of it. It's to then give him a reason to take care of these 2 younger kids.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't able to do that with his own family now.
But I think that's part of the problem, though, right? Is like the compression of all of this stuff. Because it's like I remember when they introduced the family in the bunker, I was like, oh, this is going to be like a big thing, and we're going to build towards this. And then when it's revealed that they're not really there or whatever, or that's going to be a big moment. But then there's also the introduction of the conflict between him and the king, and like you'd think of that as being a big end of an arc kind of thing, and that feels to be going on in the background. And then we have the introduction of these kids, and that they have this mission that they need to go on, where they're going to go find the remnants of the U.S. government, and it's like they've already done all that. Like, you know, and maybe to your question,
I see
Tyler,
what you mean, yeah.
maybe I'm mistaken and this book isn't intended to be an ongoing beyond this, and like they're trying to like hit all these beats in 6 issues, and like maybe that's the problem. But
Yeah.
I think it's like on paper, all of those ideas are more interesting to me than I feel like they've been on the page.
Like it feels like if this is The Walking Dead, we'd be at the prison already. And
yeah,
it's just like, whoa, okay. You pitched all this potential story ideas, and we're already there. We're kind of we're reaching the bottom of the barrel, I guess, of what you got. So there's got to be some kind of twist or something coming up,
right? And but like, if we resolve all this stuff, like, what am I left to care about? You know, like I don't know. It just because like in a vacuum, all those threads are interesting. You know,
sure. All those threads are pretty much pulled already.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a missed opportunity because like you bring up The Walking Dead and like you know the prison arc, that's like issue 50. Like,
I know.
You know, like that's and you take a long time to get there, and then when that happens, it feels like a big fucking deal because it's like, oh, we've been in this new place and dealing with this for like 2 years at this point of reading. So when it ends and we move on to the next thing, that feels big and significant and monumental. Whereas like with this, I feel like all these threads feel like they're about to get wrapped up.
Yep. There's investment involved in that, which we don't have in this. Yeah. We have a cold main character who's supposed to be this loving family man who, I like how I'm progressively bashing it more and more, even though, you know, I said I enjoyed it, and I did enjoy it. But like,
I mean, you can enjoy it and have critiques about it, though. You know, like,
yeah.
Because that's the thing, right? Is at the end of the day, like, it isn't bad. Like, it's competent and it's great art. And like,
I've read bad comic books. This is definitely not one of them.
No, I just don't think it's stand out. You know, I don't like when I look back on what were the best comics that debuted in 2021. Like, I don't think this is anywhere near the top of that list. You know,
Fair,
and like that's okay, I guess. But like with two creators with the pedigree of, you know, Johns and Frank, regardless of, you know, your feelings about Johns, I don't know. I guess you expect a little bit more, especially when the first issue shows promise.
And I feel like you expect a little more wholesomeness, you know, because I think back on like Johns' Flash or even like a Teen Titans or, you know, this is dark as shit in comparison. So
is it? I mean,
kind of. It's kind of, I don't know. I think it doesn't go too far enough in either direction.
Yeah,
you know, like
it's middling.
It's not dark enough to feel like a dark book, and it's not light enough to feel like a light book in a dark world. You know.
Yeah.
And I think either of those things would benefit it. Because like again, I to bring back the illusion of The Walking Dead, right? Like I think what works about that series is it's a tragedy, right? And like that's what it's about. And I don't know, like this, it feels like almost, like particularly I'm looking at the page right now where there's like the king and he's in his little caravan and he's like beating this guy to death and, you know, like yelling at the corpse and like, why won't you answer me and all that shit. And like that feels to me like something that would make sense in like a Mad Max movie, but like it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's achieving that same level of like revelry in what it is, you know? Like it feels like it sets up these good ideas, but it's not interested in following them to their like natural conclusion necessarily. Cause like I think back on like how the king like wants to have his big glorious battle and then he comes back disfigured and like we don't see that fight, right? Like didn't that happen off screen?
Yeah. We get it in a flashback.
Which
later
like
on in an issue later, but
which like fine, but like I would rather have that be an event in the book, you know?
Yep.
Like I don't know, if it feels like this book or the things that happen in this arc could have sustained 20 or 30 issues and been better for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so you know we'll be back with number 6 at the very least. We followed it through this far, so I think we'll at the very least see where this arc ends and lands us, and we can kind of evaluate from there. But if you, the listeners, are still really high on this book, as I know a lot of you were early on, let us know because I haven't seen as much fanfare I think for the last couple. So I'd be interested to get a check-in from some of you. Like, are you kind of feeling like it seems like we are overall, where it's just not quite scratching the itch as much as it felt like it was earlier on? Or are you enjoying it quietly and thinking that we're nuts? And if so, let us know. We'll read your thoughts on our main show. So if this is the first time you're joining us, or you only check out the reviews, we are, of course, the Comics Pals. We have a weekly comic book podcast where we discuss news and goings on of the industry and everything that's kind of going on in the world of comics and the related characters that you love. So go check that stuff out. Go check out our Marvel, DC, and everything else reviews that'll post tomorrow when you're listening to this, if you're listening to this on Wednesday. Go check out all the other cool content we've got. Tyler here is actually just launched a brand new show here with the Pals. The first episode of Journey into Quistery is up right now. It went up last Friday. We streamed that on Twitch. It's going to be a monthly thing that we're going to do at the end of every month, and it's a blast. So go check out the first episode, show your support, and hit the subscribe button. Come back for the next one next week, and thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week for another one of these image reviews. Take it easy.
Yes.
See you next week.